Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Creative Care Circle. My name's Allie Chandler, and I'm the owner of OSIA Music Therapy. And our guest today is Natasha Goldstein-Levitas, and she is a board-certified dance movement therapist with over 2 decades of clinical experience working primarily with older adults living with dementia and their care partners in multiple healthcare and community-based settings and organizations. She's also an educator and program leader with experience in healthcare and higher education. Thank you so much for joining us, Natasha. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Allie. This is such an honor and pleasure to be here with all of you today, wherever you are and whatever time it is where you are. It's a joy to share this virtual space with you. So thank you for the lovely introduction and for offering an opportunity, Allie, for us to share about the creative arts therapies and how we may apply creative techniques into our own care routines, and how we may best tap into our own strengths and join one another to promote quality of life for our partnerships, our communities. So I think that's really what this is about. And I applaud you bringing us together in this way to do that. So I have a few visuals, a few slides for us today, just to sort of keep me on point so that I'm sharing with you the information I intended to share with you about dance movement therapy, as I am a dance movement therapist, and it's the lens through which I view my work and engage in my interactions. And then also to get into sharing some sensible creative techniques. And I'm holding up a copy of my book, Dementia 101, Simple, Sensible Suggestions to Connect and Engage, to encourage each of you to try out some of these techniques within your own partnerships and communities. And so I would like to share my screen, so I'm going to try doing that. I hope everyone can can see my screen. And here we go. Oops, that didn't work out too well. Technology, right? Here we are. So I'm going to talk today about ways that we can move together in our partnerships, in our exchanges. And it's really about connecting and engaging. And we will have an opportunity towards the end of this session to move together and to take a moment to breathe and try to feel more connected. So just for us to keep in mind throughout this sharing, and for yourselves, for the future, for every behavior, there is a cause and a solution that preserves dignity, right? So every behavioral expression, everything that is communicated is coming from somewhere, from a feeling or emotion. And there are ways that we can engage with that and interact with that preserve dignity, okay? So just to give you a definition of dance movement therapy, again, I am a dance movement therapist, and it is a master's level training. So not anyone can be a dance movement therapist or offer dance movement therapy sessions. You do need credentialed training. Again, however, I'm going to share with you some techniques that you may apply right away within your caregiving relationship, whether or not you're a movement therapist or a creative arts therapist. But dance movement therapy is, quote, the psychotherapeutic use of movement to promote emotional, social, cognitive, and physical integration of the individual for the purpose of improving health and well-being. So that is the definition from the American Dance Therapy Association. And basically it's about supporting cognitive, physical, and social wellness simultaneously. It is a strength-based modality, as are the other creative arts therapy practices. So why should we, actually, I think I skipped a slide. There we go. We move and we engage in movement therapy to further connect our mind and body. The mind and body are connected. And movement therapy is based on the premise that that our thoughts and our feelings are reflected and shared through our movement, through our behaviors and expressions. Movement is constant throughout the life cycle, so we are born moving, and memories and emotions, in fact, are stored in the body. So when we start moving, we're activating and strengthening our neural connections. We're releasing feel-good hormones such as serotonin and oxytocin. We're increasing our mind-body wellness, enhancing our coping skills. And moving does not have to involve full body engagement, right? Could be very subtle facial movements, deep breaths, and even laughter counts, right? So thinking about, I want to encourage you to think about movement in a slightly different way, perhaps, that it is, or rather it can be subtle and involve, again, breath, to have, even the breath can have an impact on further connecting our mind and our body. So let's just take a moment, take some deep breaths in and breathe out. And at your own pace, we often don't take this time as care partners to breathe intentionally. And I want to encourage you to do that. Because when we hold our breath, right, there's not much movement, and we're feeling more stuck maybe and more stressed, right? Our muscles are tense and locked. And when we're taking a moment to breathe, carving out that time, we're getting that oxygen flowing through our body, through our muscles, to our brains. It's helping to, again, connect us, ground us. Very, very important. So I want to share with you a technique that I have been using for years in my 24 years of working with aging adults and individuals living with dementia and their care partners, and that is setting the scene. And what I mean by setting the scene is setting up a comfortable space and environment, setting setting things up ahead of time and priming for the best possible outcome. So creating that warm, welcoming atmosphere, so that when individuals enter that space, they're feeling a little less nervous, a little less lost. You know, with dementia, there is progressive change and loss happening, right? And as care partners, we might be feeling that ourselves too. And so it's important to, set a tone, help to diffuse that anxiety, help to offer opportunities for individuals to feel connected and safe, right? Offering a safe, stable environment and that feeling of being at home. So bringing in the familiar to the space as well. It could be changing up the lighting. It could be arranging chairs in a certain way. It could be putting music on, and I'll talk about music a bit more and how music can be um, very instrumental, for lack of a better word, in setting up that right scene. And just to, mention or to make note of the fact that, we know, home is not always a safe place for everyone. But again, what I mean here is a welcoming and comfortable atmosphere. And offering opportunities for individuals to engage their senses, right? So offering items as a focal point or tactile stimuli, right? In the individual's favorite color. Right? So, I'm holding a scarf here, which is soft, we can see through, we can move together with this, perhaps hold on to either end and rock back and forth, right? It offers an opportunity to, again, to connect. And words are not always necessary, right? So I think it's also important not to overwhelm when we're offering sensory engagement strategies. So not too many scarves at one time, right? But can we offer a choice, right? Maybe just offer two in different colors. Maybe make something in the kitchen together, right? That stimulates the tactile and the olfactory, and that is familiar. Maybe mom used to be the one to bake a special bread. So could we maybe try that together in the kitchen with some special music playing in the background? It's about offering, again, opportunities for individuals to use their abilities. So we want to tap into strengths. So as a dance movement therapist, and I know other creative arts therapists do this as well, we're tapping into what is available to individuals. So it's different than an art class, a dance class, if you will. We're not forcing movement. We're not forcing engagement in things. It's really starting with what is most accessible, offering choices, going back to that idea of comfort. Comfort is key, routine, consistency, right? Because if our loved one, our client is continuing to go through these changes and losses and trying to process that, make sense of that as we are, right? It's important to set things up ahead of time and really have that structure, that set structure, so that there are less surprises in that care routine and care exchange. And emotions are contagious. So being very mindful of how we move into a space. If we're feeling really stressed and frazzled and we're not taking that moment to breathe and which as care partners, you're feeling that a lot of the time, but it's really important, especially when engaging with individuals living with dementia, that we take that time to take a step back, to pause for just a moment sometimes is all we need, right? To breathe, to check in with ourselves, assess where are we, what do we need? Do we need a moment? Do we need a cup of tea before we enter into that exchange? Because our clients and our loved ones will feel that. They will feel our either our stress or our level of calm, and that will transfer into that exchange. So very, very important. And of course, music, as I mentioned, and I'm sure Ali could speak, speak much more about this. This is her area of expertise as a music therapist. But music, as a part of our interaction, it can inspire movement, can help with communication. It's nostalgia, or can be nostalgic, and it's whatever music resonates with your client or loved one, and also with you. Are there playlists that you can put on that you and your loved one, your client, both enjoy? Something that maybe is familiar, right, with a nice rhythm, or perhaps more instrumental, and the right music for the right time. Also making sure it's not too loud, right? Putting some music on maybe during those care routines, right? That kind of helps to meet that mood, right? So there might be times when we need something more rhythmic and higher energy, and other times we might need silence. So, playing around with that. But music is very, very important for also setting that tone, providing that structure, can help to organize. When I've had a rough day, I have certain playlists that I play, when I'm making dinner and doing housework, and it really helps to get things moving and helps to organize. So really important to meet our clients and loved ones right where they are. If they are not wanting to engage or expressing distress and nervousness, can we maybe just give them a bit of space for a moment, right? If they are feeling energetic, can we meet them in that place and kind of start from there? So it's tapping into what is accessible, meeting them where they are, and acknowledging and responding to emotional cues. So, so important. Lucy burnt the potatoes, or somebody walked in their Halloween costume, and she's frightened. We can make some guesses, but we don't know exactly what Lucy's thinking or feeling. But it's important to acknowledge those cues, right? Even if it's maybe not what is happening exactly in the reality, our reality, right? Or in the space. This is what that individual is feeling in the moment. So, gosh, Lucy, I know. So surprising, so surprising. Let's see what other surprises we can find over here. So it's like connecting in the moment and engaging, meeting those individuals right where they are. And we could use touch, gentle touch, or simulate touch using a scarf, right? Or even eye contact, making some faces. Maybe we can have making face exchange to express how we're feeling and kind of create a dance out of that. And it can be playful and silly, fun. It's all about finding a way in. It could just be, Miss J, it looks really comfortable where you are right now. May I pull up my chair next to you? May I sit next to you? Or gosh, I really love those earrings you're wearing. So beautiful. Whatever it is, right? Finding that way to connect. And sometimes it's just a matter of simplifying. Sometimes, it's turning the lights down, turning that music lower or turning it off, and just, simplifying to better assess what might be needed, taking a breath, maybe just sitting and watching a show together, right? And then we can engage in our care routine or move a bit and have that exchange afterwards, right? But sometimes I think it's knowing when to pull back, to let go of those techniques that we're trying to engage our client or loved one in. And so a lot of, let me back up for a moment. We've heard a lot, I'm sure, about this word improvisation. And as care partners, you're improvisers. Kind of, we all are, okay? So, it's about offering those creative techniques in the moment to support our clients and loved ones. And it could be using anything, right? It's kind of like we need to pull from our bag of tricks, right? It's about offering items to, to connect and engage, improvising our approach, our strategy, changing things up and adapting and going with the flow. We could look in our refrigerator cabinet sometime and say, gosh, I hadn't gone to the store this weekend. Well, I have this ingredient and that ingredient, and let me see what I can make out of that. So that's kind of what we're doing here, right? Because oftentimes behavioral expressions for individuals living with dementia are predictably unpredictable. So it's a matter of trying different things and going with what might be working in the moment and modifying things, changing things up as we need to. So it's really, again, thinking very practically, right? That, even if we're not a creative arts therapist, right, we can still use music within our interactions. Sometimes rhythm, sometimes just tapping out a rhythm can help to de-escalate or de-stress and changing that rhythm up, right? Using imagination, engaging our senses in the right ways, not too much at one time, but kind of maybe one sense at a time, and focusing on those responses, right? And those responses tell us where we can go next, right? That scented lotion that we're rubbing on our hands together is really working. So let me try that some more, right? And it might not work as well tomorrow or next week, but that's why we, can improvise and pull from our bag of tricks, right? And I mentioned nostalgia. People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel, said Maya Angelou. And I think it's really that. I think it's, if our intentions are good, if our intentions are pure and in the moment, and we're offering that care, and being very intentional about that care that we're offering, and taking moments to breathe, right, and check in with ourselves and be mindful of how we're entering that space, right, or that interaction. I think we can't go wrong. And so I would love to just take a few moments. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I see some more individuals have joined us.